Ragnarok. Just hearing the word, you almost get chills, don't you? It's the end of the world, right? Gods battling giants, fire and ice, the whole epic shebang.
Right. It's become almost a cliche at this point, hasn't it?
Totally. Like people throw it around for any big dramatic finale.
Exactly.
But what's fascinating to me is when you actually dig into the myths, Ragnarok is so much more than just a big explosive ending.
Oh, absolutely.
There's this whole other side to it, this really human drama unfolding against the backdrop of the apocalypse, and that's what we're diving into today with this incredible source, The Hidden Truths of Ragnarok.
And it's that human element that often gets lost, I think, in the more spectacular retellings.
Totally. We want to uncover those hidden truths, those smaller moments of fear and defiance and, well, just the sheer weirdness of knowing the world is about to end.
It really makes you think, how would you react if you knew the ultimate deadline was coming, no escaping it?
Right. Talk about an existential crisis. But before we get to the all-out brawl, the gods versus giants main event, we've got to set the stage. Imagine this. Fimbulwinter has gripped the 9 realms. We're talking a winter so harsh, so long, it makes a blizzard look like a picnic.
And this isn't just any winter, right? It's a sign, an omen, that things are very, very wrong.
Oh yeah, the ultimate bad omen. Even Yggdrasil, the world tree, this massive tree holding the cosmos together, it's starting to rot from the inside out.
The very fabric of their universe is unraveling.
And as if that's not enough, you've got the Norns, those 3 beings who weave fate, just straight up whispering doom and gloom into the cosmic wind. Talk about bad vibes.
You know, it's important to remember, to the Norse, this wasn't some random apocalypse. Ragnarok wasn't just sprung on them. It was woven into their stories, their beliefs, from the very beginning.
Like it was baked into the recipe of existence.
Exactly. It was just a matter of when, not if.
Which makes what happens next even more tragic, because it's not just us mere mortals who feel this sense of dread. The gods feel it too, even them.
Can you imagine being almost all-powerful, immortal, and still feeling that fear? Knowing that even you can't outrun what's coming.
Dude, if I were a god facing Ragnarok, I'd be hitting that meat hall hard. But Odin, the Allfather, the wisest of the gods, he's not giving up that easily. He's like, no, not today, Ragnarok. I'm smarter than you.
Oh, poor proud Odin. He really thought he could outsmart fate.
He really did. Odin goes on this epic quest for knowledge, searching for any way, any loophole to get out of this mess. Consults ancient seers, travels to the land of the dead, even hangs himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days just to gain a bit of wisdom. Talk about commitment.
He was desperate.
Desperate! But here's the kicker, and our source really hammers this home. Every path Odin explores, every vision he has, every prophecy he deciphers, they all point to the same terrifying conclusion. There's no escaping Ragnarok.
He couldn't outrun fate, no matter how far or fast he ran.
Nope. And that line from the source, it always sends shivers down my spine. Every vision, every whisper led to the same conclusion.
Chilling.
Yeah.
It really sets the stage for what's to come, doesn't it? This world on the brink, the gods themselves staring down their own mortality.
And at the heart of it all, Odin, the embodiment of wisdom and knowledge, forced to confront the one thing he can't control, his own inevitable demise.
Almost Shakespearean, isn't it? All that knowledge, all that power. And yet, Odin still can't cheat death.
It really adds this whole other layer to the story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you realize this isn't just some big cosmic battle. It's deeply personal for these gods. They're facing their own mortality, their own failures. All the world is falling apart around them.
And that's what makes the actual events of Ragnarok so compelling. It's not just a random clash of titans. It's the culmination of all these personal journeys, these destinies colliding.
So, like, imagine the scene, right? Fenrir, this giant wolf, so big he could swallow the sun, finally breaks free from his chains. Jormungandr, the world serpent, rises from the ocean, big enough to crush continents. Talk about an end-of-the-world party.
It's tempting to get lost in the spectacle of it all, the sheer scale of the destruction. But our source urges us to pay attention to the smaller details, the individual confrontations.
Because each fight means something.
Exactly. Each one is symbolic, a physical representation of these larger cosmic struggles. Take Odin versus Fenrir, for example.
Okay, so the Allfather himself going up against the beast that's destined to kill him. There's a certain irony there, right?
More than irony, it's knowledge versus inevitability. Odin, who sacrificed everything for wisdom, finally facing a truth he can't outrun, a force he can't outsmart.
And Fenrir, he's like this embodiment of primal chaos. Nothing personal, Odin. You just gotta die.
Exactly. It's this raw, unstoppable force, and even Odin, with all his wisdom, is powerless to stop it.
Man, talk about a downer. So if Odin's busy with Fenrir, who gets stuck dealing with the giant world-eating snake, oh right, Thor. Of course, Thor would be the one to take on the giant snake.
Well, who else would it be? He's the strongest of the gods. But it's more than just brute strength here. Thor versus Jormungandr, it's order versus chaos.
Whoa, okay, I like that. So Thor, with his big hammer, he's all about keeping things in line, protecting the realms.
Right. He's the defender of Asgard.
Yeah.
The one who keeps the forces of chaos at bay. And Jormungandr, well, he's basically chaos incarnate, this giant serpent who can wrap himself around the world. That's not exactly a symbol of order and stability.
So their battle, it's like this microcosm of the whole apocalypse thing happening around them.
Exactly. It's this epic struggle that ultimately determines the fate of, well, everything.
Talk about pressure. So we've got Odin versus destiny, Thor versus chaos. What about everyone's favorite trickster god? Where does Loki fit into all of this? All right, Loki. I was wondering when we'd circle back to him. He's always causing mischief, stirring the pot.
Yeah, he's the wild card, isn't he? But our source makes this really interesting point about Loki. They say he's not purely malicious. He's actually driven by this deep sense of being torn.
Torn? In what way?
Well, remember, he's not just a god. He's also a giant, adopted by Odin. So he's always straddling these two worlds, never quite belonging to either.
Oh, so he's got that classic outsider angst. I get it.
Exactly. And according to the source, that angst is what fuels a lot of his actions. It's not just about being evil, it's about trying to find his place, even if it means tearing everything down.
So even in the midst of Ragnarok, with giants running amok and the world literally ending, there's still this element of very human drama playing out.
Absolutely. And that's a key takeaway from all of this. The Norse gods, for all their power and immortality, they weren't so different from us. They felt love, jealousy, anger, fear.
All those messy emotions we humans are known for.
Exactly. And that's what makes their stories so enduring, so relatable, even thousands of years later.
Okay, so back to the end of the world. After all the battles are fought, after the fire giant Surta has his way with the place, paint me a picture. What's left after Ragnarok?
Silence. A vast, echoing silence. The gods are gone, the realms are in ruins, and there's this sense of finality. It's not just the end of a world, it's the end of an entire cosmos.
Whoa. Okay, that's bleak. Even for Ragnarok, that's pretty dark. But this is Norse mythology we're talking about. There's always a twist, right? Tell me there's a glimmer of hope somewhere in that cosmic void.
There is. Remember Lif and Lithrazir, the two humans hidden away by the gods?
Oh, right. The ones stashed away in some safe bunker while everything went kablooey. Smart move.
Well, their names are important. Lif and Lithrazir literally mean life and striving for life. They represent humanity's will to endure, to rebuild, even after the unthinkable has happened.
So they're like the ultimate survivors, emerging from the ashes, ready to reboot the whole human race thing.
Exactly. They inherit this blank slate, a world cleansed by fire, ready for a new beginning.
I like it. Out with the old, in with the new. But what about the gods? Are they gone for good, or do we get a cosmic do-over on that front?
Well, not everyone makes a comeback, but some familiar faces do return. Baldur, the god of light, who actually died before Ragnarok, he's resurrected. And he's joined by Hodur, his brother, and Vidar, a son of Odin.
So, a new world, a new generation of gods. It's like hitting the reset button on the whole Norse cosmos.
In a way, yes. It's a chance for a fresh start, a world built from the ashes of the old.
So as we wrap things up here, what's the big takeaway from all of this Ragnarok craziness? Why should we, here in the 21st century, care about a bunch of feuding Norse gods and their world-ending prophecy?
Because their stories are our stories. They remind us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, even when it seems like all hope is lost, there's always a chance for renewal, for redemption. Just like Lif and Lithrazir, we have the power to face our fears, to rebuild from the ashes, and to write our own stories on this blank slate we call life.
Beautifully said. And on that note of hope and resilience, we come to the end of our deep dive into Ragnarok. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Until next time, keep exploring those myths and keep asking those big questions. And remember, even when the world feels like it's ending, there's always a story waiting to be written on the other side.